Why does the talented person lose to the relentless one? You've watched this happen. You've probably been the talented one. You tell yourself talent wins eventually. It doesn't. Alex Hormozi has 3 words for why they don't. They sound like hustle. They're not. Volume negates luck. And underneath, the math is quiet and older than Hormozi. He said it on his podcast in January of 2021. 3 words. Volume negates luck. But the line wouldn't have weight if it came out of nowhere. It didn't. Before Hormozi was Hormozi, before the gym chain, before the books, before any of that, he was trying to get into business school. And he was bad at math. Natively. Not a little bad. Wrong answer, wrong method, wrong intuition bad. So he did something strange. He bought 16 prep books. Not 1, 16. He sat down 4 hours a day for 3 months. And by the end of it, he had worked through 10,000 problems. His words, not mine. If I do 10,000 problems, I'll start to just understand how these problems get asked. He scored in the 99th percentile. He could not get smarter at math the normal way, so he stopped trying to. What he figured out, somebody wrote down 2,000 years ago. Start with something small. You sent 5 cold emails. Nobody replied. You tell yourself the move doesn't work. Hormozi would put it differently. You didn't take a shot, you took 5. And 5 is not data. 5 is a warm-up. If you send 100, something different happens. The hit rate becomes visible. The first 3 emails you sent were bad. The last 3 were better. Somewhere in the middle, you accidentally figured out what to say. Somewhere around 50, a subject line started working. Somewhere around 70, you stopped apologizing in the first paragraph. By the time you've sent 100, the hit isn't luck, it's arithmetic. That's what Hormozi figured out at the GMAT. He didn't get lucky on math, he stopped needing to be. 10,000 problems was not a miracle, it was a pile. You can't argue with him on method. The method was a kitchen table and a stack of books. The method is always available to you. And then there's the version closest to you. The skill you are quietly embarrassed by. The script you can't quite deliver yet. The cold opener you hesitate on. The content format you published 3 times and stopped. The conversation you've avoided twice. You don't need insight about those. You don't need to be smarter or braver. You need reps. Hormozi has another line that sits next to this one. Skill is the only thing that separates you. Which sounds motivational until you notice what it actually means. Skill is not a prerequisite for volume. Volume is what produces it. You might be treating skill like a gate that opens volume. Once you're good enough, then you'll send the 100 emails. That's backwards. The gate was never there. Skill is what's left after you've sent them anyway. In his book from 2023, he made it operational. 100 actions a day, 100 messages, 100 calls, $100 spent on ads. Pick one, commit. At that cadence, imperfection becomes irrelevant. You don't have to do it perfectly 100 times. You have to do it 100 times. Which means this is not a story about trying harder. It's a story about what skill actually is. The talented person treats skill like an arrival. They're waiting for it to show up. The relentless one treats it like a byproduct. They are making it by trying. You can feel the difference. When you're waiting for skill, every attempt is an audition for yourself. Did I do it right? Was I good? The count is 40, and each one is a small judgment about whether you should keep going. When you're making skill, each attempt feels closer to weather. You don't ask the rain if it should rain today. The count is 40, and it's just the count. Sit with that for a second. Think about the things you've done 5 of, the emails you sent 5 of, the content format you published 3 times, the conversation you avoided twice, the workout format you tried and stopped. Each one of those is you waiting for skill. You were going to do it more once you got better at it. Epictetus named it 2,000 years ago. Some things are up to us, some aren't. Attempts are up to us, outcomes aren't. Volume is the honest response to the split. You put your weight on the thing you actually decide. That is what Hormozi figured out at the GMAT. He stopped trying to control the test. He started controlling the count. And yet even now, even after all of that, there is a word in the middle of this that fails you. Volume sounds like a number. It isn't. The lottery ticket was never shots on goal. It is the refusal to stop buying tickets. You can hit that the wrong way if you want to. Shots on goal is still a count, and any count can end. You take 100 swings, you miss, and you tell yourself you gave it a fair shot. That's the trap. The math only works while you are still in the game. The talented person's stop condition is, this isn't working. The relentless one's stop condition is, I'm no longer here. Those are 2 different sentences. They end in 2 different lives. The first life ends with, I gave it a fair shot. The second life ends with the ticket. And somewhere between the 2 is 100 versions of you that never bought it. The 100 attempts where you were still there, still showing up, still refusing the reasonable exit. The reasonable exit is the one thing talent can almost always find. So tomorrow morning, at the kitchen counter, before the day starts, pick one thing. One move you tried twice and stopped. The cold email sequence, the content format, the workout. Pick one. Commit to attempt 10 before you judge it again. Not tomorrow's 10. 10 over the next 2 weeks. 1 a day. 10 isn't the Hormozi number. He did 10,000. The rule of 100 asks for 100 a day. 10 is just the smallest count that gets you from I tried it to I actually ran the experiment. 10 attempts is not a lot. It is just more than 2. When the 6th one doesn't work, and it probably won't, notice the story you're about to tell yourself. It is the same story talent tells. The story that says, this isn't working. The story that says, I was right about it being a bad idea. The story that says, I gave it a fair shot. Do the 7th anyway. 1 stone a day, 10 of them. That's all this week asks. If this helped, subscribe. 1 stone a day.